Welcome back to the Break Room. I'm Hector Navarro, and this is Film Ranks, the show where we comb through movie history and, using our vast knowledge, generate the definitive top 5 for all you discerning rock stars. Today's rankings will be the top 5 best potential matchups for Deadpool in the MCU. But before we get to that, a little reminder that the list that we create here today will be out on the new Rockstars channel as a listicle on Wednesday, hosted by yours truly. Also, if you like rankings like these, check out our listings from last week where we discussed the scariest movie moments from non-horror movies. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Let's dive in. With us to discuss all of these epic potential Deadpool matchups are Eric Voss and Brandon Barrett.
Hi, everybody. Look at all this new stuff. This wasn't here last week. It looks so good.
Oh, yeah.
So beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, gentlemen, before we jump in, first of all, thank you for being here. So excited to pick your brains about this. We got to define the parameters. What the heck are we talking about? What's a potential Deadpool matchup? Are we talking who we think could kill Deadpool in a fight? You were like, Deadpool can't be killed? What's the parameters here?
I think there's a couple things to consider.
Okay.
One, I think you got to consider the moviness of it, right?
The moviness.
You don't want a fight that's just over in 30 seconds. You want a good movie fight.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Good power sets matching against good power sets.
That's right. That's right. We got to think Deadpool can have all of his limbs severed. He can have his head severed. So we got to think what type of MCU matchup would really best play to that. We want to see some carnage. We want to see some violence. And I think knowing with the Merc with the Mouth, we need some shit talking.
Yeah.
I want to see who was going to have the best conversation as they're fighting. Wow. Some implied history or some multiversal connections, some uncanny connections between these two based off of the actors we know playing these characters.
I love that setup. Thank you for teasing us, because as we get into this, we're going to go through each one of our contestants' lists, one ranking at a time, where they're going to have about 30 seconds to tell us why they chose that specific one and why it's in their ranking where it is, right? After we have seen their list, we're going to take those 10, 5 from Eric, 5 from Brandon, and 1 chosen by our community, and then we're going to work together to generate the definitive, authoritative, ultimate top 5 for all time, or at least until Deadpool 3 rewrites our reality and we have to do this again. So we've kind of teased a little bit about the parameters. I can't wait to get into each one of these picks. We're trying to generate the best matchups for Deadpool, right? And you guys were talking about making great cinematic physical fights, and I'm like, what about just like matching their wits? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm excited. Okay, Eric, I'm going to start with you. Eric, what's your number 5 in your ranking?
All right, my number 5 potential Deadpool matchup is with Daredevil.
Oh, no.
Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, the devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Wow.
The man with no fear. Look, this is perfect because they have similar costumes.
Red, okay.
And you guys know how much I love MTV's The Challenge. With the hallway fight that Daredevil is known for, we got a hall brawl,
baby.
We got a hall brawl between these two.
Brawl.
Just imagine the fight with Deadpool and Charlie Cox Daredevil, where they just go at each other in a hallway again and again and again.
That'd be great.
I want to see a long take in a hallway where Deadpool's arms just get severed, his head gets severed.
Jeez.
And you gotta think, like, the Netflix version of Daredevil is one of the most violent, sickest Marvel violent melee fighters that we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see in the fight between these two. I want to see a lot of blood.
That'd be great. Also, I would love to see Deadpool like comment on the whole like Netflix versus MCU-ness of it all. He can kind of break that fourth wall a little bit.
Right. I'll say, like, what universe do you even belong to? And you know he's going to make fun of his last name. COX, Cox, you know Deadpool's going to have some fun with it.
Do you think Deadpool will fight him with his mask off? Because Daredevil can't see him, so he will feel comfortable being maskless.
Oh, maybe. That's a good
be.
point. Brandon, let's hit us with your number 5. Which matchup do you want to see?
If you want to take on Deadpool, you need someone with a pretty powerful power set.
True.
Beyond our own realm of power, that's why you need Doctor Strange. Okay?
Ooh,
you need
I like this
someone
one.
with magical abilities to take on Daredevil, who can speak to us. He can break the fourth wall.
Deadpool, you mean? Deadpool.
You
said Daredevil.
All right, he's back on the board.
No. This one is Doctor Strange versus Deadpool.
Doctor Strange will first kill Daredevil, and then we'll come fight Deadpool, okay? I want to see Deadpool take on magic, right?
Oh, very cool.
Because he has this kind of almost godlike ability. He can break the fourth wall. He can see us seeing him.
Sure.
How does he take on the master of the mystic arts?
And the multiverse,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
so
good,
I think
really good.
Doctor Strange will do a great job shutting down Deadpool, locking him in the mirror dimension where
Yeah.
Deadpool has to face himself multiple times over. Who knows?
Ooh, that's pretty
So
good.
much zany awesomeness can happen.
That could
with
be
these
really
two.
good. Very, very visually exciting to
Yes.
see a Doctor Strange fight with Deadpool. Eric, what do we got for number
Yeah.
4?
My number 4. Okay, so one of the best duels in the MCU history is the Wizard duel between Doctor Strange and Thanos in Infinity
Yeah.
War. So
Yeah.
my pick, I mean, we gotta see a Deadpool versus Thanos fight,
okay.
if for no other reason than
Come
Josh
on.
Brolin plays Thanos and Cable. So we
call it
Pretty
out.
gotta have that.
Pretty
fight.
good, pretty good.
And the other reason being, in the Deadpool comics, like the big beef
Yeah.
between Thanos and Deadpool is that Thanos, the whole reason he snaps the Infinity Gauntlet is to woo Mistress Death,
Right.
who Deadpool steals from him.
Oh.
Deadpool and Mistress Death falls for Deadpool and totally cucks Thanos, and it's one of the funniest.
That's ridiculous.
fucking
That is
things.
ridiculous.
So like we gotta have that fight between the two of them. I mean Thanos. I would say Thanos no Infinity Gauntlet. I just
I was
want to see
gonna ask,
Thanos.
yeah, does he have the
Sure.
stones?
Melee fighter.
Sure,
He
sure,
could just
sure.
take him
Yeah.
to town.
That
I
would
think
be
that would
awesome
be.
still.
We
That'd be
gotta
awesome.
see it.
Yeah,
We're
Deadpool
on-
makes a great joke. You've got no stones, Thanos.
Oh,
You
pretty
know.
good. Yeah, yeah.
perfect.
Classic,
Perfect
classic,
stuff.
classic Deadpool
Perfect
joke.
stuff.
What do we have next for you over here, Brandon? We're on your number 4. This is your number 4?
This is my number 4.
Okay.
Okay. And I think, you know, Deadpool's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's very clever. He's very witty. But you got to come at him as a blank slate. That's the best way to beat him and not give him too much to work with. And who's the blankest slate out there? White Vision. Okay. You put the funniest guy in the MCU
Okay.
versus the dullest person in
Maybe,
the MCU.
maybe,
Right?
honestly.
Like every
Honestly.
joke that Deadpool's gonna throw at White Vision, right over his head.
I request elaboration.
Yeah.
Every joke
Every
will need
joke. It will
context.
drive Deadpool insane.
That'd be great. And you know, honestly, I think Paul Bettany's really funny. And I think he
Yeah.
could play that in all seriousness, like really well.
Because
Great
regular
pick.
Vision, Scarlet Vision, he's got too much going on. He knows
Maybe,
too much.
maybe.
This child, this infant
Yeah.
out there with unlimited power, I think would
So
be a
funny.
great matchup.
I
What do
mean,
you
when
think,
Deadpool
Eric?
regenerates, he's basically the ship of Theseus, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's going to be a whole thought experiment that will break White Vision.
I like this. I like this wild card pick. Eric, we're going back over to you for your number 3.
All right, number 3, Deadpool versus the Weapon X version of Deadpool. We are entering a multiverse, right?
From
And
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
from X-Men Origins Wolverine, he was called Weapon X because he was like the 10th, right? Like they
I don't
had
know.
this whole bullshit explanation of why they would call him Weapon
Okay.
X. His mouth was fused shut.
Yeah.
Which was criminal to do that to the Merc with a mouth.
Yeah.
And we already saw a fight between them of sorts in the
You mean
Deadpool
when,
2 post-credit
when
montage.
Deadpool shot him.
He assassinated him.
Killed
Right.
him.
I want to see a rematch between
Okay,
these two. I think
okay.
to me this is the White Vision fight.
Right,
He's
yeah.
super stoic. He's a snooze fest.
Brandon, what is your number 3 on the list? What do we got?
My number 3
Yeah.
comes from the depths of hell itself. It's Hela.
Ooh.
Okay. Number 1, and this is kind of Eric's president. We gotta bring her back. We gotta bring.
Okay,
Hela back
that's
a little
your
bit.
real priority.
Yeah, yeah,
We just
yeah.
gotta bring Kate Blanchett
We
back.
need her back in.
Yeah.
We got to get her back in. But I think, you know, someone who has existed for thousands of years,
Yeah.
has seen wars, has seen destruction, has seen conquering, has seen
Yeah.
famine, has seen it all, would really, really not want to put up with Deadpool's
That's a good point.
bullshit.
That's a
right?
good point. Yeah.
And the knives would come out immediately.
Yeah.
But I think this would be a great fight.
Yeah.
She could raise, you know, a full dead army to take on Deadpool. So you just have him carving through the green glowing zombie warriors of Asgard's old. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And eventually working his way to Hela where they have a knockdown, drag out fight.
And I think once again, Kate Blanchett, super funny in that role, like underratedly funny with
Right,
that
right.
kind of like, she is a threat, but she knew how to play that villainous humor so well. So I think that would be a really good wits matchup as well. I really like that. Plus I also just love this like secret plan of you guys to just bring back actors. We
Yeah, we're
appreciate.
trying to
like,
get
like
good
Josh
actors back in
Brolin,
there.
Thanos is gone, but like bring him back in a multiverse, right? Just for the one matchup.
They're
That's
too
the point.
good.
They're
They're
too
too
good.
good.
Eric, what's
Not
your number
fair.
2?
All right, this one we know is coming, but
Boom.
I mean,
Oh, okay,
Wolverine,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
we know
yeah,
from
yeah.
set photos, we know that Wolverine's going to be in Deadpool 3. It's
happening.
already happening. You don't need to say too much, but this is like the match made in heaven. We know this bowl has been coming since the very first Deadpool film. It's going to be an amazing rematch. I'm most excited for it. I mean, this is more exciting to me than where my imagination can take me, so I ranked it at my number 2.
Beautiful.
Enough
Very
said.
good. Thank you
Beautiful.
for being honest with yourself about that one.
Yeah.
Thank you for being honest with yourself.
My
Brandon?
number 2 is going to shock and awe everyone. And it's technically, there's 2 tucked into my number 2. Well,
Okay.
there's several tucked into my number
Yes.
2. And that's when Deadpool takes on the Eternals. All of the Eternals. Now, I had a
Wait,
caveat.
hold on.
I had a caveat.
Especially
Okay.
Kingo.
Yeah. Well, I asked, and it was never clarified, so I got both.
Okay.
The Eternals, because I think this would be a whole movie where Deadpool exists throughout time, constantly taking on the Eternals, pointing out the atrocities that they allow to happen,
Oh no.
and finally gets revenge for saying like, hey, you know how you let the conquistadors come in and take over the Aztecs? Well, I'm about to get some revenge for that. Remember how you helped them build the hydrogen bomb? I'm going to get some revenge for that.
But if Deadpool is traveling through time and is existing throughout all these eras, why isn't also he held responsible for letting these atrocities happen?
Maybe it's
Good
a
point.
situation, a little bit of True Blood, right, where they like,
they're on trial.
They keep beating him and putting him in cement and burying him in the ground and then digging him up, and he's like, it's been 200 years. What are the Eternals up to now?
It's like Bender's head is like stuck in the desert, just buried there for hundreds of years in Futurama, and then they get him out 1,000 years later. That kind of thing with a Deadpool head, something like that.
Now, if I had to pick only one Eternal,
Sure.
I want Kingo.
Kingo,
I know what you're
come
thinking,
on.
like
Kumail.
Kingo. Why
Kumail
Kingo?
Nanjiani, he's so funny.
Exactly. Two
Yeah.
funny guys together.
Yeah.
Two guys who want to be in the spotlight. These
Yes.
guys just want to be in the spotlight. And I think eventually Kingo would just bring Deadpool into his movies. And they would be like a buddy cop kind of comedy throughout generations, constantly making movies.
I like these wild card picks from you, Brandon. I know that Eric hates the Eternals and everything about them, so this is gonna be tough.
Number 2? You could
This
have put
is-
your wild card at 4 or 5.
No, this is an
2?
incredible matchup. An incredible matchup.
No,
It's
I think it's a
delicious.
great montage that we like, the kind of montage we should have seen at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder, where all these characters just get killed off immediately. I don't want to see a fight longer than 10 seconds with any of
Who
those
gets killed
characters
off
in
at the
Deadpool.
beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder?
No one. That's the problem.
Who did you want? The Guardians of the Galaxy?
Any of the guys.
Oh,
All
because
those
of Gore,
people.
the God
Yeah,
Butcher.
they
I
took
see.
out his
Okay,
montage.
All those bird people got killed. What about those bird people?
Yeah, some of those bird people, they got taken out by Guns N' Roses Thor. They really did.
I love the bird
Eric,
people.
show us how it's done. What's your number 1 pick?
Okay, my number 1 pick, it's got to be versus Wanda Maximoff.
Whoa.
Okay.
What I want to see is a
Yeah.
replay of the Multiverse of Madness Illuminati massacre.
Okay.
But with Deadpool standing in the way of every single. I want to see Deadpool die every single one of those deaths.
And coming back somehow.
And I think Wanda Maximoff is Elizabeth Olsen.
Yes.
Surprisingly funny.
Yes.
She's very quippy, hilarious in WandaVision.
Yep.
I think it would be an amazing fight. She, I believe, is the most powerful villain / hero in the MCU currently.
Yeah.
And I think we got to see Deadpool face up. I mean, you had a wizard on your list. I needed a sorceress on my
There we
list.
go.
And I think to me, this is the most exciting. She can come up with the most creative deaths for him.
I see.
Just
I
how
see.
quickly
Yeah.
she was able to come up with sealing someone shut. What if we get to see his mouth sealed shut
does it-
the
he does
way
it
that
again.
she did?
He's going to cut it open. He's going to find a way to cut that open. But I love that you're pulling that real great Sam Raimi Illuminati montage. That was a great montage, and to kind of bring the Deadpool into that. Plus, your pick could potentially confirm the return of Scarlet Witch, that she didn't actually die. Whereas some of these other ones are like, we're going to need some multiverse shenanigans to bring in, certain characters and from other universes and characters that have died, whatever. But she could come
here's
back.
the deal. 838, Wanda Maximoff is
Yeah.
still technically alive in the
Yeah.
838
Right.
universe. It was just
That's
a Scarlet
true.
Witch who was dream hopping into her. So that's someone who died at the end of the movie. So that 838
Oh, is
one
that right?
facing
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of consequences in that universe for killing all those people in Central Park. And she's like, I didn't do that. That was a
wasn't me.
ghost. It wasn't me.
Wow.
But now that some other ghost is going to come into her, and then
So
Wade
wait,
Wilson.
where's 616 Wanda? She's still.
She's the one who got crushed into the rubble.
Oh,
but
got
she
it,
might
got it, got it.
still-
She's red.
I see. Got it.
Red embers somewhere else in the world.
Gotcha.
Listen, they're going to blame 838 Wanda. She's going to claim innocence, and they're going to bring Billy and Tommy to the trial, and they're going to be like,
What trial?
Our mother did not give us ice cream. Throw her away. Lock her up.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of trial, what's your number 1 pick?
I like Eric's pick. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I love making like a cross-gender match. I think
Yeah.
that's very progressive, and that's why Deadpool.
That's not the
should
only
take
reason.
on- that's the only reason. Very progressive. She-Hulk.
Come
okay?
on. Come on.
That's
Deadpool
pretty
can
good.
talk to us. She-Hulk
Yes.
can talk to us.
The original fourth wall breaker.
That's right.
Put some respect
Yeah.
on Jennifer
That's
Walters'
right.
name.
She's
Yeah.
strong. She's smart. She breaks the fourth wall.
Oh, I
okay?
love it.
They can both quip at us. They can both be like, what's going on here? What's going? Wait, you can see that. You can see. You know.
That's
She's-
great writing, Brandon. Save it for
Yeah.
the script. That's too good.
Yeah. She has a long night with Daredevil, right?
Yes.
Gets a little out and then gets a fight on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
Boom.
this happens right the next morning?
Right the next morning. Boom! Smacking skulls.
I love it. Wow. Okay. So that makes our top 10. Congrats to all of us for all of our hard work. Once
I
again,
feel that, I
didn't
feel
do anything, but everybody did a great job. Now let's move on to the community poll. We asked our subscribers what they thought was the potential for the best Deadpool matchup in the MCU. And they picked Spider-Man. Come on.
He's
now,
a child.
He is. It is the Tom Holland Spider-Man who, at this point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, no one on the planet knows he's Peter Parker. He's very alone. He's very almost like classic comic book version of the character. But I just think the pull of having Deadpool square off against Spider-Man, like he does so often in the comics and has created so many great comic book moments, is too tempting, and it's too great to not do some version of. So yeah, I think in the comics we're used to maybe a little bit older of a Peter Parker, not necessarily a Peter B. Parker, who's like, you know, in his mid-40s, but like mid-30s, mid-40s. But this, I think, is summing up that love of that comic book matchup of the Merc with a Mouth and our favorite web slinger. Both of them are just at the top of the quip game. Imagining that matchup would be, and listen, let's not beat around the bush here. Tom Holland is very funny as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He has got the comedic chops. I think that he can pull this off.
Or do you think it's just you just put Spider-Man in any poll and our subscribers are going to be like, yeah, that one.
Could
like,
be.
Who should be the next Supreme Court Chief Justice? Yeah, Spider-Man.
So it should be Spider-Man. Yeah, exactly. He's a good dude.
Right.
He's
I'm
a
not
good
saying that's wrong.
Dude.
I just think he's put him in any poll. People are going to vote for him.
Maybe that's true. Let's put up a poll. Guys, will you vote for Spider-Man no matter what?
We got 4 Spider-Man options. Pick a Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man. That's the winner. It's certainly not going to be Tom Hardy Venom. I'll tell you that much. Okay, now that is settled, we're going to head to the board to get into the definitive top 5 ranking of Deadpool matchups within the MCU here on Film Ranks. Don't go anywhere. And we're back into the second half. And you know what? There's way too much crap on this otherwise gorgeous board. Take a look at this. Wow.
Beautiful.
It's so nice. It's so nice. But I was being serious when I said there's way too much crap on here. So the first thing we're going to do is have each of our contestants eliminate one from the opponent's top 5 so that they are out of play. Yeah, this is full on.
I thought we were coming together here.
Antagonistic. No. Fellow contestant, thank you for correcting me, Eric. Fellow contestant, we're going to eliminate one of y'all's picks from each side and get it off of the board so that it's not in play. And then afterwards, we're going to pick one from each other's top 5 to make sure it is in the top 5 in play, and then we're going to figure out the order. So let's start, Eric, with you.
Okay.
Go ahead and eliminate one of Brandon's matchups for potential Deadpool matchups in the MCU.
I mean, easy.
Oh,
Get this shit off the board.
Wow.
I don't need to see that. Like, look, if the
Wow.
Eternals want to come back and some other, I don't want to see an Eternals 2. I would maybe like to see them in some kind of cosmic, otherwise movie, some team-up movie, but like, no, I'm good.
Brandon,
Okay.
if you would be so kind as to go ahead and eliminate one, maybe not as cruelly as Eric did.
No.
Do it.
I'll do it.
Go ahead
It
and-
needs to happen
It
because
needs to
once
happen.
was already too much. Get this Weapon X Deadpool.
There
out of
we
here.
go.
Boo.
There
I don't
we
need
go.
to see this.
That's,
Boo.
yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo's right.
It might be a
Boo the
little
choice.
redundant, honestly. It might be a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
you know.
I don't even see it
Fair
again.
enough, fair
He's
enough.
dead.
When we
Let's
have
move on.
so many exciting MCU characters to now potentially play
Yes.
with, why are we going back to X-Men Origins Wolverine? Let's leave that sucker in the dust.
Bye.
Yeah.
Now, we have got the community one in play, right? The one that the community picked here, the versus Spider-Man. That's going to be in the top 5 for sure.
Okay.
Eric, go ahead and pick one of Brandon's that should be in the top 5.
Definitely. Okay, so I think of all the ones, including mine,
Yeah.
I think my favorite one that was mentioned today, definitely She-Hulk.
Yes.
She-Hulk is
yeah,
great.
there we go.
I wish I had thought of She-Hulk. She-Hulk is
It's so
incredible,
good.
just for the meta aspect of the character.
Yeah.
I mean, I would hover this somewhere up here. I would say
Ooh,
1 or 2.
okay.
1 or 2 for
I
me.
love that.
But we can
Alright.
move it around, but I
Brandon,
love She-Hulk.
if
like
you would
it.
return that kindness, pick one from Eric's top 5, and you can even potentially do a placement as well, and then we'll talk about the placement. But which one did you think needs to be in the top 5?
I mean, these are some really good ones. We're getting Wolverine, so I feel like I'm okay. I really like Scarlet Witch. Not to pick your number 1 too, but like,
Do it.
I love Scarlet Witch.
All
The
right.
more Scarlet Witch we can get, and I think in this movie, Scarlet Witch is definitely the villain, which I love. Villain Scarlet Witch.
Ooh, okay,
Keep
okay.
her evil. I say keep her evil.
when are we
Let
ever-
her kill the dogs.
No, not the dogs.
Let
evil.
Cruella kill the dogs.
My goodness.
That's what she does.
Wow.
That's what she does.
I would love to see her return one day as an Avenger, but you know what? She may have gone too far killing those dogs. But it was Agatha all along. No, maybe it was her. No, it was Agatha. It was Agatha. Okay. We have got 3 potential choices in the mix. We need at least 2 more. So let's open it up. We're opening up the floor to both of you, gentlemen. Let's talk about this. What else do you like? What else do you think is maybe? I know, Brandon, you were like the Wolverine one we know we're getting. Does that mean we want to leave this off of our top 5 of
Yeah,
like
I mean,
potentials?
It's
or
a
do you,
great matchup, though.
Yeah,
It's such a good
yeah.
matchup. It's so classic. It's so good they even did the Dumb Show version on Instagram before the movie even came out. I'm very excited.
Oh,
that.
right.
They did a reenactment of the movie before it even comes out.
Oh, that
to
was
get us
fun.
prepared.
Yeah, he was going like this to his head. Yeah, that's great.
Now, we talked about a bunch of different parameters of what we're looking for in a Deadpool versus someone fight. Do we want all the top 5 to be governed by the same parameters, or each kind of showcase a different parameter in a different way?
I think
I like
a
that.
little variety.
So we've got this sort of
variety.
like fourth wall breaking, matchup potential here. We've got the magic and power
We get the
matchup here.
diversity, the creativity
saying
of the way he could get killed.
Maybe the Doctor Strange is almost represented by Scarlet Witch. Is that what you're thinking? So maybe this is not as much of a priority as some of the other ones. We've also got the sort of classic.
That's
Also,
Spider-Man.
the fact that this Spider-Man is Tom Holland, that's also like a youth versus age type of a thing.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds could play with that a lot. That's
Right.
something that's like the teen hero versus the more seasoned Deadpool character. That's represented there. So
Yeah,
what
and
else
in
are we
fact,
feeling?
I would say Spider-Man almost negates having Wolverine on there because those are like marquee
Right, it's the
Marvel.
it's the
people-
comic book thing.
So like, as much we're gonna see a Wolverine Deadpool fight, we're
Yeah.
good. We don't need
Okay.
to have him in our hypothetical
There
listing
we go, there we go.
Happy to remove
Boom.
it. And I would say the same with Doctor Strange. Anything Doctor Strange
Right.
can do, Scarlet Witch can do, except maybe some of the shit talking. Because Benedict Cumberbatch, I feel like would have
Yeah,
some
he's
fun back and
quippier.
forth.
He's a little quippier.
But
Okay,
I
okay.
feel like Wanda can pull it off.
We've
too.
got some great villains. We've got some great heroes still on the board. Some blank slates. Some
And
other.
you've got like
Okay.
Thanos and Hela, right? Two heavy villains.
Yeah.
Very powerful, very strong.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this.
Here's where I'm leaning. I
Go
think
ahead.
like we need White Vision in there, and then we need someone who can really bloody him up. So
Yeah.
between Thanos or Daredevil, I want to who's gonna get the most blood spilled.
Thanos. It's got to be Thanos.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean,
Daredevil and Spider-Man, they're kind of street level.
Yes.
Kinda straight-
Yes.
You're right.
so
Yeah.
I'm thinking that, and plus, again, that Josh Brolin potential
Yeah.
right there, that
Yeah.
potentiality is
Right.
too good. So if these are the 5 in play, what's the order going to be? What do we like? What do we like?
And we're getting this.
Let's
we're
do it.
dropping
Get
them
them
down.
out.
Bye.
Drop them down.
Bye bye. Okay, so I don't know. I'm with you on number 1. I think She-Hulk's number 1 for
She
me.
looks pretty good.
Just because meta breaking the fourth wall, I think a Hulk is a fun fight because she could tear him to pieces.
Yeah.
My caveat is I don't want Disney Plus bullshit violence.
No, it's
I
a
want,
movie.
I want real R-rated violence. And I want there to be sexual tension. I want there to be profanity. I want like comic She-Hulk.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she gets raunchy, and that's what I want to see. I know Maslany can do it. Like
Oh,
we saw
yeah,
Orphan
yeah.
Black. She can get super violent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eric, again, new father. I'm so excited about you being a dad.
Super violent.
I do like it. I like She-Hulk as number 1. That was going to be my biased pick. That's my favorite one.
Now,
up
if you
here.
have a different thought on where you want to put She-Hulk,
No,
go ahead.
she was my number one from day one.
Yeah.
There you
Okay?
go. There you go. What else are we thinking?
I mean, Spider-Man is such a marquee. You bring up the marquee aspect.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got to be pretty high up there.
I'd be okay putting Spider-Man number 1 too.
And listen,
it's just everyone wants him.
I
Yeah.
said that this is the Tom Holland Spider-Man, but let's be real. Spider-Man No Way Home just reintroduced, brought back the idea of having these other Spider-Mans in play. The Tobey Maguire, the Andrew Garfield versions, and Deadpool is a multiversal character. He's coming from the Fox universe, he's entering the MCU. We don't know what kind of multiversal shenanigans that could entail. So this really could be Spider-Man, parentheses, any of them. Like, we don't know what this could be. So that would be, imagine not just Spider-Man, Spider-Men. Imagine if it's him going against all 3. Do you think Toby and Andrew want to play with that, Ryan Reynolds?
I mean, you could bring in the whole Spider Society if you wanted to.
do it.
They could
Let's
start
do
coming
it.
through the wormhole.
Sure, we'll start bringing even the one movies that hasn't come out yet. What's her name?
Madam Web?
Madam Web, yeah, everyone's favorite Spider-Man spin-off character. Madam Web,
Do
Dakota
we think
Johnson.
that Tobey Maguire could take a joke from Ryan Reynolds?
Absolutely not, but I want to
I don't
see
think-
it.
I
I
think
want to
he'd be
see
so
it.
annoying.
He would be making jokes about Tobey Maguire, not even about Peter
Right,
Parker.
he'd be mad. No, I
Great.
think Andrew Garfield would be like the perfect
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like just because he seems to be closer in age.
Yeah.
It's something about Tom Holland just seems a bit too young. Like, but I mean, I
A
get it.
second
People
ago,
wanna
you were
see
like,
it.
I want to see She-Hulk beat the shit out of this guy. I want
she's
sexual.
with
But
similar
now you're
powers.
protecting precious baby Spider-Man. Is that what it
He's a
is?
grown man. He's a grown man playing a teenager, okay?
I had a dream recently where I had to direct a Spider-Man movie, and Tom Holland was such a fucking diva, and his like handlers were like brushing me off, and I took one of their hats and I threw it. I said, "I'm doing my fucking job."
Whoa.
This
Your
is an
dream is
actual.
so
I woke up
realistic.
It's so
stressed out.
specific and weird.
In my dream, I was like, I'm failing my child because I'm going to get fired off of this Marvel project. And
Everyone
Okay.
else in the dream is flying, and Eric's just doing his job.
I just have a clipboard.
Okay, dream beef aside, I mean, do we want Spider-Man as number 2 then, or do you have this
It's a strong
weird
number 2.
dream
I think
beef?
it's a strong number 2, if not
Okay.
a number 1, because
Okay.
I get people want it.
No, we've got Thanos, White Vision, and Scarlet Witch left. What are we thinking?
I think White Vision should be number 5.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
thinking the same.
okay.
That's a good starter.
It's a
fight.
good starter. a good
It's a mini boss. That's a mini
for your
boss.
fights.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with everything you said about White Vision before. Like he's so dull, and he's like perfect, and like someone needs to make fun of him. Someone needs to take the piss out of him.
And Deadpool works best when he does have that straightforward person to
Right.
bounce off of that is just like the opposite in energy of him. Hence Josh Brolin Cable, hence maybe Thanos. What are we thinking for Scarlet Witch and Thanos?
Ooh, that's tight.
Just because of the Brolin connection, I'd put Thanos at number 3.
Okay.
Because
All right.
if it is Josh Brolin Thanos, there's so much fun that could be
Yeah.
had between him and Ryan Reynolds.
And so this has more of honestly like a little bit of a personal relationship with the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, whereas this is just kind of like a new element being thrown
Right.
into the mix. Yeah.
Completely opposite sides
Yeah.
of the multiverse coming together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Brandon, how you feeling about that?
I think that's a very strong list.
I think so too.
I like that.
And just a secret surprise announcement, this list is actually going to be what Marvel Studios does, guys.
Whoa!
This is what they've decided, the plan to follow. So you're welcome, Marvel Studios. Here you go.
Yeah, you just swapped that.
Yeah, there we go. Finally.
Wow, that stuck really well. No, this is
give
the
it up,
actual
yeah.
final list here. This is our definitive, authoritative list. There you have it, the matchup list for Deadpool in the MCU. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on Film Ranks. We are going to have a beautifully put together listicle out on the new Rockstars channel on Wednesday, so make sure to check that out. And next Monday, make sure to tune in where we're going to be covering the top 5 best film twists, which is a really, really great one. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Breakroom. And please, we love our audience, so make sure to leave a comment below if we missed any Deadpool matchups that you want to see in the MCU. Who knows? Your pick might make it into a future list. I want to thank our guests for joining us, Brandon and Eric. Brandon and Eric, let everybody know where they can find you on the internet, where they can keep following you and your work.
You can follow me on X at Brennan Barrett.
And Eric, you've done some new Rockstar stuff before.
Yeah, just let this video play out through the outro, and whatever the next recommended autoplayed video is, chances
watch
are
it.
I'll be there.
Please
just
watch
watch
it.
it.
There you go. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.